We are back with some breaking economic data. The March inflation numbers are out. It's the first report to really reflect the war with Iran. Inflation rose by 0.9% month over month and 3.3% year over year. NBC News business and data correspondent Brian Cheung joins us now from the big board with more on what these figures mean. So, Brian, let's look at the big picture there. 3.3, it's a high number, but I guess it was maybe expected because of gas prices. Walk us through the number.
Yeah, as you point out, this is the first inflation report that we've gotten that shows prices in America after the war with Iran began. Again, what we're talking about is the month of March. And on a yearly basis, prices in this country rose by 3.3%. That is a lot hotter than the 2.4% that we saw in February. Again, what we're talking about is a year-over-year period, so March of last year to March of this year. And a lot of that, understandably, was because of higher gasoline prices. But I should point out, economists were expecting this. They knew that this would reflect the impact of the war, so 3.3% was about in line with expectations. But you have to zoom out and see that was a 0.9% jump in the pace of inflation in this country between February and March. And I should also point out this 3.3% figure, that is the largest that we've seen on the inflation print since 2022, Joe.
All right. So what is it like when we break it down by category?
Yeah, so when we break it down by category, again, where we saw the biggest jump was in energy, where prices rose by 10.9%. And what's interesting is that what we're talking about here are monthly changes. We were just showing you yearly changes. Now we're talking about what happened between February and March. So in 1 month alone, energy costs went up by almost 11%. A lot of that was gasoline prices, which rose by over 20%. Staggering to think about those numbers in just 1 month. But food prices, interestingly, they went sideways. They were basically unchanged between February and March. So we're not seeing the pass-through of the effect of this war onto food, with a big caveat, which I'll explain later. But I do want to get to shelter costs. This is the biggest cost for most Americans, basically in line, 0.3%. That's keeping in pace with the 0.2%. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but again, this is the biggest expenditure for most Americans. But with the food prices, again, there's a worry that if this war is prolonged, that would be reflected in later reports. And I should also point out, again, this is covering the month of March, not April, where that's when gas prices rose above $4 a gallon on a national average, which means that this report doesn't even show the full brunt of the impact of this war.
Yeah, so look, what have gas prices done since the start of the war? And this ceasefire we have right now, incredibly fragile, but could it mean we see those prices go down anytime soon?
Yeah, well, look, the story is that gas prices have been blowing well through $4 a gallon and actually crossed that mark March 31st, going into April 1, which also explains to you why this report may not have captured all of that, because this is a March report, not an April report. But when it comes to the story, obviously the last few days there's been the developments on that ceasefire, an albeit shaky one. But if that does hold, that should in theory resort to lead us to lower gas prices. And in fact, Gas Buddy says we could go below $4 within a week or two. But again, we won't then see the impact of that until the April report, which we'll get about a month from now.
Yeah, and we don't, I guess, need a report to see the gas prices. We just drive on by, look at the sign, and we know where they are.
That's
Brian,
right.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app, or watch live on our YouTube channel.